So Module 16 is upon us. It has been announced. They have done the alpha testing and now they have officially released some details. I did a video recovering the 4 developer blogs that they released yesterday morning. Yeah, yesterday morning. You can check out my channel and go back to that because I'm not going to go down all the details again because that's just not needed. But I kind of wanted to recap the new module and talk about it a little bit because there is a lot of talk and a lot of drama going around complaining about how the new module is going to kill Neverwinter. And there's a lot of people making a big drama about it, and maybe it's for views, maybe it's just, who doesn't like a little drama every now and then? I don't know. But there's a lot of that going around, and I thought I would give my piece, a little background history on myself. I have played this game, Neverwinter, since June 2013. I've never taken a break. I've never pulled away from the game. I have played consistently, every day, every module, with my Trickster Rogue. This is the first character I made in the game. This is the character I've stuck with. So I have seen the game through and throughout. I know a lot about the history, the somewhat disastrous changes or modules they've made in the past, and based on that past knowledge and past experience, I thought I would review kind of the core or what we can expect from this new module. So to just brief over what we know, there was an alpha testing. There was only, I think, one other module that had an alpha test in the past. I couldn't tell you what module it is off by heart, but if you look it up, you'll probably find it. There was once an alpha testing, so it's not the first one, but it's definitely not common for the developers to do. The alpha testers had to sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, to not leak any information. Somehow information still got leaked, but it was unconfirmed if it was from a trustable source or not, so to speak. I didn't get into that details because I heard they were banning players. I don't know if that's the case, but if there's a ban, I stay away from it. You should too. We know that yesterday morning they posted 4 developer blogs announcing or pre-announcing Module 16. It's called Undermountain. It's obviously based off the most recent edition of the Dungeons and Dragons. You guys will know what I'm talking about if you follow Dungeons and Dragons. I don't, but because I play Neverwinter, you kinda just hear about it, not gonna lie. So we know from the developer blogs that the level cap is going up to 80. The item level is changing and there's going to be a new scaling system. There's a lot of rather major changes to the classes, but there does not appear to be any new classes like there were rumors of. So that rumor appears to be false. I wouldn't say it's totally out of the game, but considering they did a whole blog about the classes, mechanics, and changes, it would have been the perfect opportunity to announce if there was a new class, and they didn't. So I'm going to say there's no class, most likely. And then there were changes to stats. They added some and removed some. I already have a video on all of this that I did yesterday, literally an hour after they posted the developer blogs. So you can go over and watch that and get a little more detail. In the description of the last video, there's links and timestamps to each section where I read over and brief over the developer blogs on each topic and links to the actual blog. But anyways, you can go watch that if you want more details. Let's kind of get into the new module and what to expect, because there's just been so much drama. Like I said, I don't know if it's for views or people just need a little drama in their life. I don't know. But honestly, and I say this with the highest sincerity, I really don't think this module is going to be that dramatic. And before everyone starts running me over like, what do you mean? Look at all these changes. I get these changes. When they released Elemental Evil, everyone was kind of surprised or put off by the level cap increase. And I do agree that kind of hurt the game a little bit because people had invested so much time into getting like their, I think back then it was the corrupted black ice set or the purified black ice set, that it took a lot of grinding to get that, and then the module after it's suddenly not even viable in comparison to common level gear for like level 62. It's ridiculous. They totally just outed it. It was ridiculous. And that put off a lot of people. And I do think the level cap increase is going to put off a lot of people, including myself, because I don't have, I would say, super fancy gear, but to have to think about refarming all this stuff, re-refining it, I really just keep my primary and secondary artifacts, my enchantments, and but like the rings, the artifact set, the weapons, head, armor, arms, feet. To think of having to refarm that and re-replace it is just a little bit annoying. But welcome to Neverwinter. They always do this. I think, likewise to the last time, it's a little bit of an attempt to bring the end gamers closer to the newer players and the newer players closer to the veterans and the end gamers, so that it creates more of a balance, because as a game reaches the 6-7 year mark, that's when you start to have those super elitist players. They already have everything, they already know everything, they've maxed out everything, and it creates a really unfair balance between the new players and the veteran players, if you know what I mean. So I think it's just a way to kind of balance that out, but I think there's probably a better way to go about it, because I have a feeling that's probably what Barovia was about too, kind of bringing a little more equivalence from the new players to the veteran players. It's just a thought, it's just an opinion, I have no proof of it, but it makes sense to me anyways. So it's just a thought. I mean, we got through it last time. I'm sure we'll get it through this time. It's really not a big deal. But people are making a big deal of it. I understand if people are quitting, but at the same time, it'll probably bring back a lot of returning players. And new players, well, they're not going to know the difference. They're just going to keep leveling like they're doing now. So I really don't think it's going to be that tragic to the game where everyone's like, oh, the game's going to die out. This is like the death blow to the game. Nah, you guys are crazy. That's ridiculous. The item level changes and the new scaling system. I cannot tell you how many times they have fiddled with the item level and the gear score. I remember if you had 4,200 item level or gear score, you were overpowered, you were strong, you were maxed. Now you gotta get to like 18, 19k if you want to feel maxed. But before they had the 4.2k, it used to be like 19k as well. And then they reduced it, and then they increased it. I don't know what happened, but they have always fiddled with the gear score and the item level, including changing the name at some point. Made no sense. They claim every time that it's going to balance, it's going to make more sense, it's going to fix this. I somewhat agree, and with what they're changing and how they're changing it, and I think it'll be a step towards getting a more accurate representation of your character's actual capabilities instead of just tossing item level out there. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but I really don't think it's actually going to fix it. There's still going to be loopholes. It's just not going to work, I think, as well as they're hoping, but it is a step in the right direction. So I think that's actually a positive change. So that I think people should be happy about. I'm just saying. Let's see, class changes. I can't really comment too much on this because they really didn't release a lot of details about it. I mean, they're changing the feat trees. What else are they doing? They're changing the names of the classes. A lot of people are actually happy about that they're setting the class names back to the traditional, classic, basic Dungeon and Dragon titles. You know, the rogue, the paladin, the cleric. You know, it's just really straightforward and it relates closer to Dungeons and Dragons itself. So I know a lot of people are happy about that. A lot of people are kind of iffy about the Great Weapon Fighter being called a barbarian because Great Weapon Fighters really aren't like barbarians. You know, like the barbarian class, I mean. You know, it's kind of rubbing off the wrong way. But for the most part, I really don't think it's such a significant change that it's going to confuse people. I have a feeling people are still going to use the acronyms like an OP, a DC, TR, GF, GWF. I think a lot of people are going to use those acronyms still, and it's probably going to confuse people for a little while, but that'll fix itself. It's not a big deal. The stat changes, additions, and removals. I understand a lot of people are concerned about the removal of recovery and the removal of lifesteal because both stats are rather important and necessary for various builds. I 100% understand that. I myself am a little bit iffy about going down to a 50% critical strike cap and then also having these negating stats that from your opponent or bosses, enemies, foes, whatever you call them, being able to negate your stats, kind of like how you have armor penetration, defenses ignored, and your enemy has, you know, defenses, but they also have the same for you. You kind of get what I'm saying. It's I forget what word they use, but you can read it. It's not a big deal. It's really hard to comment at this point. I think pretty much all classes are going to have to retest and rebuild their entire character. Like build wise, you know, the feats and the powers and the boons, and I think there's going to have to be a lot of tweaking and a lot of testing done, but at the same time, it's it's okay. It's cool. You know, I don't know. Like I said, we really don't know that much about it yet because they haven't really stated too much, which sucks. But yeah, just wait and see. I mean, I guess it'll be kind of cool to have something different because it is a little bit annoying that as soon as you're endgame, you have a 100% critical chance. You have a ton of recovery, a ton of power. You got the armor penetration you need. You got the life steal if you got a good boon going on. You know, like I don't know. It'll be kind of nice to cut back and make it a little more difficult and also put a little bit more importance and thought and validity, whatever the word is, into your stats. Your stats are going to mean a lot more. And you're going to have to really think about the mechanics of your stats and not just a number. You know, I really don't, I think we'll just get used to it. That's just my opinion. Totally my opinion. Now, I wanted to mention about the feats because there's been a lot of comments too about removing the feats, and I don't think everyone is quite on the same boat. As far as I understand, they are removing the Paragon trees. That means, for my Trickster Rogue, for example, there is no more Saboteur, there's no Scoundrel, and there will be no Executioner. It will just be two paths. One line of feats and another line of feats, and you mix and match as you go along. It's either one or the other, one or the other, one or the other, as you continue to level up. That's what I understood anyways. Maybe I got it wrong. Everybody interprets it differently. I don't think changing the Paragon tree is going to change much because literally any MMO you play, guess what? There's always a meta. There is a build and there is a class that will always be more powerful or useful than another class. People will test it, people will find it down to the closest fraction of a percentage, and there will always, always, always be a meta. That's all I can say. There will always be a meta. So I think them switching around the Paragon Pass and trees, I don't think it's going to change much. It's just going to take some more time for people to find the meta. But with the amount of people that will be testing and making builds, a new meta is going to come to light pretty quick. And it might change around over the months, but you're still going to have a meta build that people are going to model over and follow. That's just how it's going to be. It sucks, but that's my thought on it. Let's see. Something else I wanted to touch base on. The Module 16 releases on the test server on March 1st. It was posted, it's official, it's happening. Up until then, a lot of people are making predictions. You know, what is going to be the new best in set for your companions, your insignias, your mounts. And it also raises a lot of questions like what happens to your insignias or your enchantments or your mount bonuses or your artifacts, anything that gives recovery or lifesteal. So I think I have a couple that give lifesteal, maybe I don't. I kind of tried to min-max this. Yeah, maybe I don't, but a lot of people do use uh, lifesteal and recovery insignias on their mounts. And that includes enchantments, like look at a paladin. No, it's not a paladin, my bad. A guardian fighter. Most of them will just use recovery enchantments, silveries. You know, some might use cruels or black ice, but you know, it makes you wonder what's going to happen to those. Are they just going to disappear? Are they going to be replaced with something else? It begs a lot of questions. We don't know, but a lot of people are making predictions. And if you're watching the auction house, one of the things I noticed right away was the owl bear. Is it the owl bear? Yeah, the owl bear cub. Now this thing has not been best in slot or best in set for a while. It kind of used to be pretty good, but then along came like the Siege Master and the Razorwood and the Shelton Tiger and the Alpha Compy, even this Yojimbo thing over here. You know, when the Errands of Belial or the Cambion Magus, whatever these used to kind of be best in set. And the Owl Bear was one of them, especially for classes that maybe weren't a full 100% crit. Of course, when there was 100% crit, like this kind of died out, but it's come back to the surface because crit caps at 50%. And at Epic, well, you know, 50% of the time you're going to be using this. It's on encounter use, but for a lot of classes, encounters, you know, they do a lot of power. It could be useful. The prices have skyrocketed. People are selling them. Some people bought them earlier when they were cheaper and stocked up. Another thing someone mentioned me before I end this, and I'm actually not going to bring it up here. Someone important and very knowledgeable about the game mentioned to me that a lot of the beta testers have been very clearly working the auction house for different items, where some items that were really, really cheap before, they're just buying them all out and posting them for a way higher price, which it makes you wonder, is this item getting a buff or a more important repurpose? You know? So if you're someone that has the time to watch the auction house, it's something you can do, and you might get a little more hints about what to expect in Module 16. Like I said, it comes out on, I'm pretty sure it said March 1st, which is next Friday? I don't know. I'm pretty sure it said 1st. It could have said something else, like 31st. I don't know. We'll see. I'm pretty sure it said 1st. So, we'll see. but that's kind of it. But end conclusion, it's not going to be the end of Neverwinter. It's a lot of changes all at once. I do agree. Someone commented on the last video that it's just too many changes to introduce all in one go, and that is what is setting people off. But if you look at these changes individually and break them down, they're really, really, really not that bad. We'll get used to it just like any change, like when they put the cap up to 70 or they nerfed the bonding rune stones. They changed our daily rough astral diamond refinement cap. There's been lots of things in the game where players have been upset. Then this is the end of Neverwinter, it's the end of the world, but the game moves on, the players move on, and if you like Neverwinter, you'll just accept the facts and keep moving, and you'll be surprised. Most people become surprised that actually they enjoy the changes. It's true. It happens. But, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. I probably should have said at the beginning of the video to subscribe. I didn't. But if you watch this far, I hope you subscribe, because I'll be doing a lot more videos on Module 16 as soon as there's updates, changes, new information released, anything like that. I will do my best to be on it and posting and sharing, testing. I do a lot of information on the Trickster Rogues too, especially when there's major class changes. I do a lot of testing because I do have my guide on MMO Mines. And yeah, I think that's it. But take care. Don't stress about the new module. Like I said, a lot of people are kind of just throwing it in your face like it's a big deal and they're being over dramatic, but that's what they're being. It's over dramatic. So yeah, don't worry about them. It's not going to be that bad. Okay, there's been worse updates in the past. So it'll be fine. Don't stress it. Enjoy the game, have fun, and take care of you. Ciao for now.